lastly, we have this.
Debate is brewing away from the ice over playoff beards.
NBC Sports Chairman Mark Lazarus wants to see an end to the playoff beard tradition.
Let's get their faces out there. Let's talk about how young and attractive they are, what model citizens they are. I know it's a tradition and superstition, but I think the beards do hurt recognition.
I also don't support prohibition. I'm a big fan of the band New Edition. This is the remix to Ignition. Shocking, I know that a television executive could be so out of touch with popular opinion. If Mark Lazarus wants to hate playoff beards, fine, but at least have some solid reasoning. His supporting arguments are completely invalid. Like saying playoff beards keep fans from talking about how young and attractive players are? I'm sorry, when did we decide that beards aren't attractive? I mean, just off the top of my head, yes, 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 please. Okay, definitely, absolutely, 100%, yes, probably, already did. And if that's not enough evidence, I present to you Zach Galifianakis without a beard. Unsubscribe from that. Then Lazarus says that playoff beards are hurting hockey players' sponsorship opportunities. He compares current players to guys from pre-beard hockey, like Ron Duguay, Guy Lafleur, and Bobby Hull. And yes, those guys did commercials, but you can't honestly tell me you think beards are hurting the sport more than this. Ooh la la Sassoon is actually French for who thought this was a good idea. And yeah, those guys didn't have beards, but you know what else they didn't have? Helmets. I'd say that thing that covers 20% of a face at the end of a season is less of a hindrance to recognition than that thing that covers literally all of the face all the time. You want to help recognition? Let's lose the helmets. Hey, you know what? While we're at it, those bulky pads aren't helping anyone find players sexy either. Lose those too. I can't think of a single person who wouldn't tune in to see this. Look, basically everyone disagrees with this guy, so I'm not really worried about it happening. My real issue is defend the wall, Mark. You're a chair at the network that controls NHL rights for the foreseeable future. You can hate playoff beards all you want. Don't put that out there. Think of it this way. Are cell phones going to give us all cancer? Probably. Does Apple tell you that as you're buying your iPhone? No, because it's their job to sell you something, not to point out a potential flaw in the product. If you really think beards are hurting the sport, come up with a way to fix it. That is your job, after all, isn't it? To get people to tune in. And I mean, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but here's how to do your job. Sure, playoff beards may be unruly and some may find them off-putting, but they symbolize what's so great about hockey. You look at the bench and yeah, you might not be able to pick out who's who, but that's kind of the point. Those guys got to the playoffs together. They're fighting hard to win together. They grew those beards together. It's a true team effort. Don't get me wrong, the NBA Finals have been great this year, but the LeBron versus Steph narrative is in such stark contrast to the conversation that surrounds the Stanley Cup. And that's hockey's competitive advantage. See, Mark? It's easy if you think like a hockey fan. Although, if you were a hockey fan, then you'd know the strongest argument against playoff beards is two words: Sidney Crosby.